It's your boy Justified, Fathers in Hip Hop. We back. You know, we went hard the first couple weeks of doing this podcast or Instagram Live, whatever you want to refer to it as. And, you know, I was going hard Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, sometimes on Saturday. And, you know, I kind of streamlined the situation to where we'll be going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That gives me time to focus on the lives, and then those days in between, I'm able to be handling my business, reaching out and trying to get the donations coming in to be able to continue the Blessed in the Mess campaign and send out these cash apps to these fathers and families across the nation, you know, that tap in and support the movement and want to get blessed in the mess. So today's Wednesday. I got a special guest coming in today, my guy TJ with the Scar. He has an amazing program and outreach that he does, and we're gonna get a chance to chop it up, talk about fatherhood and you know, related content. So all those, if this is your first time tapping into us, you know, make sure you're following Fathers in Hip Hop. And as we proceed with this conversation, we want you to drop your cash apps in the comments. And at the end of the live, I'll go back through them. And I'll be seeing them as they drop as well, taking note. And we'll be able to distribute those funds at the end of the situation. So with no further ado, I see my boy TJ is in the building on time. And that's a beautiful thing. So I don't want to keep him waiting. And we're going to go ahead and get this situation started. Let me bring my boy in. TJ should be popping in just a second here. Well, thank everybody that's tapped in and tuning in. We appreciate it.
Yo.
Jeezy.
What it do?
Man, it's another day, another blessing. You feel me?
Man, I can dig it.
Want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I know you're a busy man, and you know, you made time to come tap in with Fathers in Hip Hop and be able to have this fatherhood conversation and drop some jewels on people. How's your day going?
Yes, oh man, shit. Another busy day. Work. Blessed to, you know, be back functioning at the shop. So another busy day, man.
I can dig that. We know that you know, the COVID and everything that's going on, it affected a lot of families. You know, with you know, not only fathers but mothers being out of work or reduced hours, or, you know, no child care. You know, it affected the family in a strong way, especially those families who, you know, weren't already prayed up and prepared. You know what I mean? So
Right.
salute to all those in the struggle. You know that God got something for them. They just got to keep their head up and you know, drop their cash app in the comments, and they might get a little bit of this Blessed in the Mess relief fund. You feel me?
Oh man, I can dig it, man. Yeah, it's you know, I mean, the whole COVID situation. I mean, I don't think that no one actually seen it coming. Like everybody, I can speak for myself. Like, you were just so comfortable in your everyday life to have the world, not just the country, the actual war, the world just stop. You know what I'm saying? So everything that you had planned, everything you had going on, just completely shut down. Like, it was a real eye opener. You know what I'm saying? Just like real humbling to where what I've seen is like a lot of people have actually got back to like the roots. You know what I'm saying? Not so much on devices. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing people on bikes, people in the park, you know, flying kites. You know, just getting back to what we grew up on, opposed to with this new age technology. You know, you go into somebody's house, everybody on their devices, and so, you know, it's to me, I see it as a blessing in disguise. Unfortunately, you know, people have lost their lives, but
well, you know, there are always two sides to every coin. You know, you got, you know, some people that have been blessed in the mess, and you got some people that have been, you know, cursed.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's not up to any judgment. You know, rest in peace to all those that may have lost their lives and all the families that have been affected. You know, but you and I, we're here today. We made it. You know what I'm saying? And we're still making it, and those that are tapped in have made it, and they're still here. And while we, mourn the loss, we celebrate those that are still here and hope that they found something, in the midst of that, mess, to bring them closer to their family, to focus more on being prepared, for these type of scenarios, because, everybody was running out getting water and toilet paper, and it's us off guard. And that's the thing about, living a blessed life is a life full of prayer, before the storm, that you pray and give thanks, before the bullshit. And we happen to, find ourselves covered. At least I can only speak for myself. I've been blessed in the midst of the mess, besides my kids getting out of school hella earlier, and all the snacks, and, invading that little 7-8 hours of me time I used to have. My life wasn't really too much affected in a negative way, but this campaign of Blessed in the Mess was born out of it. And I think, and I've seen a lot of people tap into their inner talents and their hustle muscle. You know what I'm saying? And that regular job went out, you had folks selling masks and, pushing their own lines and getting into their music with the streaming. And, so it was a lot of people that went down in the mess, but it's a lot of those that rose from it and are better off after it. And we're not even out of it yet. We're still, in it. They're opening things up, which I ain't really, I'm gonna stay at the pad, bro. You know what I mean? It's some essential things that they didn't see as essential that I need to go get. So I'm gonna make my little movements. But as far as just hanging out and being a large crowd,
and it definitely ain't none of that jumping off right now.
Right. Wear my mask.
Even myself, I found myself out there in the madness, sitting in front of Costco, 5 a.m, just to get some tissue. You know what I'm saying? Like waking up at 4 to be there at 5, and to get there, and it's 5 people in line already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just for some tissue. It's
just
like
for some
crazy.
I got, I didn't have to really. I would drive by spots to see the lines. I'd be like, Lord, gonna hold me over till it ain't no line. And I'm being real though. Like one morning, I just woke up and was like, let me go to the store. And it was like, you know what I mean? And I went, and on me, it wasn't no line. And the store that had been completely empty of toilet paper and everything, the day before was fully stocked. I went like at 7 a.m, and, I was able to get, they were like 2 rolls of toilet paper, 2 waters. So, I did my 2 and 2, went to the car, put that in the trunk, and got me another.
Right.
But I could truly say that, I've been blessed in the mess, and that's why it's so important that we push this relief effort so that we can pass that blessing forward, to other families, targeting the father, because if you bless the father, you end up blessing the family, and that's what our goal is. So I want to get into the meat of what it is that you do, and you got an awesome, campaign that you're doing yourself, and I'd like to have you go ahead and tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. Well, I got a documentary that we're filming right now called. We actually just changed the name to Is Child Support Fraud, but the platform is childsupportisfraud.com. We got the website, we got the IG running. As you know, I'm not an attorney, I'm not no lawyer. I'm just a regular cat from Compton that was forced to have to learn the law in self-defense. It was a situation where the child support system, what I found, it's a corrupted entity, and it starts from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? From when the child is actually born. Like, a lot of people don't know. I didn't even know. Like, we're so not prideful, but like you want your child, as a father, you want your child to bear your last name. Yeah, I want my child to have my name. So when you in this moment and she's going through labor and you there and everything is beautiful, and then here come this person with this chart saying, sign these papers. You're not thinking about what it is that you signing. You just, child gonna have my name. But if you flip that paper over, it tells you that you need to seek legal counsel if you don't understand what it is that you're signing, because it's telling you that by signing this, there are consequences that come along, legal consequences.
Right.
Like, but what legal matter should there be when I'm here just trying to have my child. My child is about to be born. And
right.
It's like they're stepping in as a third party to mediate, to actually, and their exact words is to establish a relationship between you and your child. My relationship between me and my child was established through God. It has my blood. So, like, how can you establish my relationship with my child? So, like, it goes a lot deeper than, we get the, it's a lot of deadbeat dads out there, and I don't think, I'm sure there are, but my friends that I know, that I've known over 20, 30 years, I don't know no deadbeat fathers. I'm sorry, I don't know them. These are not my friends. You know what I'm saying? I don't know them. But the whole campaign is ultimately, long story short, I was forced to be able to have to study the law just to get myself out of the situation. Ultimately, my child support case of 22 years got dismissed for fraud against the county of Los Angeles. Right. Yeah. So once that happens, it's like, okay, now my friends and family, they ask me questions and, can you help me out? Or I got a friend, could you help them out? And it's like, I'm not an attorney. That's not what I want to do. But then it got to a point to where, just speaking to one of my other guys, T-Mac, he was going through the similar situation. And now me and him, we was actually helping each other out with each other cases, playing each other's attorney. I found something for him, he found something for me. What they, what I'm saying? We in courtroom texting each other, what I'm saying? Just going back and forth. But it was like, he ended up getting out of his situation. And at that point, it's like, we seen that there was a procedure that they were supposed to follow, several procedures that they were supposed to follow, which they don't. And therefore, that's where the fraud comes in. And not just wanting it to be an individual success. It's like, okay, well, I was just doing videos, just trying to inform, the brothers here and there. And then it just like hit me, just get the information out. So it's just not an individual success. And that's what we've been doing. And that's how ChildSupportIsFraud.com was established.
Man, that's dope, because it's like, and I just, like, I understand, and I don't want anybody to misunderstand when you say get out of it, it's not getting out of the responsibility of the child, but getting out of that situation where this third party is involved in violating your rights.
It's in no way intended to say get out to escape your responsibility. And that's, I love my kids, I take care of my kids. It's just, like you say, there's no need for no third party. I'm a competent adult. Only they step in because they're saying you're incompetent to
handle your business without us manipulating.
Exactly. No, I handle this privately because it's a private matter.
Right.
The child was established privately. It's not a public matter.
Right. And it's been so many times that, I got a partner right now that is like super dad. Like, when he was with, with his child's mother, and they got a few, and he always was that dad. Like, he always had his kids. They lived together. He's dad. He was really father. And even in the separation, still father, still, giving freely, making sure that they're good.
Right.
Then, the mother gets into another relationship, and now they've been separated a couple of years without child support and him doing what he does and is supposed to do. The new nigga in the ear or whatever. I can't even say it's the new nigga because I don't know. That's an assumption. But now my guy's hit with child support, and it manipulate. It's just that's not the type of father that you do that to.
And the sad case is most of the fathers that I know that are or were on child support were super dads that was there from doctor visits before the child was even birthed. You know what I'm saying? And from we're talking over 10 years because these kids is teenagers now. You know what I'm saying? And my friends, like all of these, like, and it like what. Also, what I wanted to make known that there's no issue with the mother of the child, or even if it's the other parent, whether the mother is on child support, because some women are on child support. Our issue is not with the other parent. Our issue is with the actual system itself.
Right.
That system itself, based on their own rules and procedures, is fraud. And that's where my issue is, and our goal with the whole documentary, the website, is to reform the child support system. I mean, because we like I said, we don't want. It's not for brothers to escape their responsibility, but that system itself, it needs a fine tuning because the way they're going about things, and this isn't just me saying it. This comes from the Department of Justice that sent child support a memo. The Department of Justice this is the federal justice system that sends them a memo and say, hey, what y'all doing over there, y'all need to clean that up because it's not right. It's not lawful. It's in conflict with the Constitution. Now, the Constitution doesn't give you rights. It sets the bar as to what things are supposed to happen. And they are in conflict of the Constitution. It's horrible once you get to breaking it down. And when I say breaking it down, as far as like there's most child support, I'm not even going to say most all child support cases are not held. Like, you may go to a hearing and the person that in this role that's dressed like a judge, it looks like a judge, it looks like a courtroom, you thinking it's a judge. To the average person, it's not a judge. That person is depending on wherever they call it different names in different states or different regions. And on our coast, they're called commissioners. In New York, I think they're magistrates. Some is friend of the court, so whatever they call, all of them are attorneys. They are attorneys acting as a temporary judge.
Right.
There's laws that says no, they're depriving you of your property. So there's if someone deprives you of your property, who can sign warrants? This is a question. From what you know, who can sign a warrant?
A judge.
A judge. They're taking your property, and these support orders are being signed. Some of them, we found, they wasn't even signed at all. And by a non-judge, by an attorney.
So let me ask questions just for, like I said, some things I get, and I just want to ask questions in case, somebody else may not be getting. But what you're saying is that a judge can declare a warrant and take or seize property from you, correct?
Correct.
Is the property that we're talking about your finances from garnishing your checks and things of that nature, and these things are being done without being signed and approved by a judge, but somebody who has held themselves to the level of a judge doing something that's really not supposed to be done in that order, as respect to protocol.
Yes. So yes, to answer your question, yes. So in order for your hearing to be held by a temporary judge, you have to give consent to that. So once you go to your hearing, they give you a paper and let you know, hey, this person is a temporary judge. They're going to tell you it's a temporary judge. Do you consent? Yes or no? You have the option to have your case heard, just like in traffic court. They tell you the same thing. You have the option of having your case heard by the temporary judge, or you can say, no, I want to go before a judge. Now, here's the problem is. The problem is it's a twofold, because a lot of what we found, and also within my case, they falsified evidence to begin with the proof of service. So I think it's 85% of the child support orders are from defaults. Defaults are, they had a hearing, the other person didn't show up, they just did what they wanted to do.
They made a judgment.
They made a judgment. Now, if you're not even made aware of an actual hearing, and now you have this order being signed by a temporary judge that's not a judge, they violated your right to due process in that respect, because you wasn't even notified of the actual hearing. Then also, in order for them to bring a case on you, I would just say there has to be an injury. Now, just say, for instance, I'll break it down to you so you can understand it. Just say, for instance, you out and about, you get into a confrontation with somebody, sock them in the face, break their nose, they nose the police, they call the police. Okay, this guy, he socked me, my nose is bleeding, they can see your nose bleeding, his nose is broke, he did it, that's an injury. In order for them to bring a case on you, there must be an injury. There must be, it's called an injury in fact, that you directly caused an injury to this person in order for them to bring this case upon you. It's certain, it's a whole lot of things based on this is not just me saying it. This is their own rules and guidelines that they are supposed to follow. It's supposed to have A, B, C, and D in order for it to make it a valid order. They skip steps. And then they're signing. Some of them, they're not even signed. Now you have this order, and they're saying you have an obligation to support your child, which we just broke down the other day.
A paper you signed at the hospital, correct?
Say that again?
That ties back into the paperwork that you signed at birth, correct?
Correct. But even some people that don't even, some people, even for the people that didn't sign it, how did they obtain your social security number if they never spoke with you? Did someone else give them your social security number? Did she give them your social security, or did he give them your social security number? That's wrong.
Which is the law anyway, right? For somebody
that's wrong.
to give your private information out.
Oh man. And the way we approach this whole system is similar to the O.J. Simpson trial. They had blood, they had gloves, they had all of this information, and said it was a slam dunk. But what did Johnny Cochran do? He poked holes in their evidence based on the rules and the laws that you were supposed to follow. I can't remember the cop's name, but one cop, he had a sample, and he went and took it home. He stayed there overnight, and then he took it to the lab the next day. Nah, bro, you were supposed to take that there as soon as when you left the scene. That's
Right.
It's contaminated now. It's not even admissible. So
Not even admissible.
That's what we're doing. We poke holes in their evidence that they have against you to be able to deprive you of your property.
Cold game, man. Yeah, and it's important. I'm appreciative, of this dialogue with you because you're, telling me some things that I didn't know, and I'm sure those that are watching are learning something. And I think that all boils down into part of, being men, and fathers is the communication and, teaching each other what we need to know. Our people's biggest thing is a lack of knowledge. Like we lack knowledge, so we suffer a lot because we don't have knowledge. And I can say for myself that with my first failed relationship that I had a son out of, my son's mother didn't do child support, and this is why, because sometimes it's not the woman's choice. It's forced upon them because they're recruiting county or Medi-Cal or these benefits. And they say, okay, y'all got this from us. We're going to go after the daddy and we're going to fuck his life off so till he pay us back for what you did for you. In my situation, my son's mother, she wasn't on the county. She didn't get food stamps. She was situated in her life where she didn't get any type of government assistance. So it was her choice to not, come at me like that. You feel me? And but it's sad that it's an attack against the father that if this woman says she needs help, whether she's already getting help from the father or not, they're gonna automatically come and put the bullshit on you.
Yeah, and I mean it's a whole tricky situation because the money that they're using is, for the people out there, just look it up. It's something called Title 4D loans. Like they're getting funded, and they're using, it's getting paid back already. So they double dip it. It's the government is giving them the money to spend it. They get another loan, and
said it's both ways.
Exactly. So, and in most, they're putting interest on these alleged debts to where the interest supersedes the actual principal that they say you are alleged and which is crazy. Like their whole system of it is just crazy. It's actually unbelievable. And here's the thing. People always ask me if this is fraud, if it's illegal. Department of Justice sent the memos, all of this stuff, TJ. How can they still do it? That's the $1 million question. Huh?
Because we lack the knowledge to fight it.
That's one. But the $1 million answer to the $1 million question is it's not a legal process. And what I mean by that, the child support system is not a part of the judicial branch. It's a part of the executive branch. These hearings, these child support hearings that they have, they're not judicial. These hearings can be held at your job. If you just say, for instance, how they have annual, I can't think of what they're called, but just say, for instance, like you came in late 3 times in a year, annual reviews. You came in 3 times late. You had 1 call, no show. One time you left early. And they, here come your annual review, and they looking at it, they saying, okay, well, Mr. Smith, we having this review on you. We coming in. They looking at your chart and saying, well, you work good, you do all of this, but you came, you had 3 missed days. You had 1 call, no show. We're going to dock your pay or whatever. That's the same type of hearing that's going on in these child support cases. It's not judicial. It's an executive hearing, a part of the executive branch. Why is it not judicial? Because the person that's over the hearing is not a judicial person. Because that goes back to the person is a lawyer. The person that's over this hearing, they're a public official. They're not a judicial officer. On the paperwork, they may put judicial officer because they play with the words. And they try to say, well, commissioner, because they have different tiers of temporary judges. They have the judge pro tem, which is the little nigga. Then they got the commissioner, which is they try to say is a judicial officer. You're still an attorney. You're not a judge. You're not a judge. I don't care what you say. They have something in their rules and procedures. It says if a temporary judge takes a picture of themselves in a black robe, they can get fined and go to jail. Why? It says it as clear as day. Because we don't want you to deceive the public as if you are a judge and you're not.
Right.
It's a cold game, my brother.
Man, that's wild. Okay, let's take it this way. We got it, on what the fraud is. What roles in your perception of things does a father play in their child's life? One, with the mother, or two, without, the relationship intact. What are some of the things that fathers need to do to, even though sometimes it's unavoidable, but if we could avoid that scenario, what actions would a father, put in motion to, be there for that child?
A father being in the household, like the father plays a pivotal role. I'll just use myself. Like my father passed away when I was 5 years old. And I think actually I was 7. I take that back. I was 7. And my mother, she did the best that she could, and she actually did great. Like I don't recall ever not having. Like I've always had. It was never no situation where the lights was off or we didn't have cable or whatever it was. She did whatever she needed to do to get it done. But as for me, as a male, I lack that male figure in my household.
Right.
My uncle, he was in and out of camp, so he wasn't really there in the early stages of my life. I had father figures to see what it actually is, but they wasn't in my household. Like my cousin Floyd, he was a stand-up guy, worked for Los Padrinos for I can't remember how many years before he passed. My cousin Duck, I had the vision of what it was, but I never had that direct male figure in my life, in my everyday life. Now, flip the script with my children, having me being in a household with my child every day, like it gives my children just that they have that structure of there's mommy, there's daddy. Like it gives them what I didn't have, and it's a pivotal role because as much as great things that my mother did for us, she couldn't teach me how to be a man. Like she didn't teach me how to ride a bike. She didn't, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, you need both parents. God made, in order for you have to have both parents. That's the way God intended it. Because a woman, she gives you that nurturing, she gives you the love. The father, he gives you the hardness of being able to use your hands and to just be able to be a man, to work. You know what I'm saying? Like me being a shop owner, like my kids, like that. My kids come to the shop, or we drive by, and they that's daddy's shop. Like they know, like they have something to look forward to, and that goes back to what you were saying earlier, as far as we don't have that exposure of knowledge and just being a stand-up person, that your kids don't have to grow up to go seeking from the streets or from someone else the father figure that they never had.
Right.
Yeah, you definitely got to keep a line of communication open with your children, and I tell them that all the time. Like when kids gonna do what they gonna do, and I always tell my kids, whatever you do, how bad you may think or how much trouble you think you may get into, always tell me the truth. Because if you don't, when they don't tell the truth, you actually, and we done forgot about what you did. The problem now is the lie that you done told, because you done tried to cover it up. This is the issue now.
Right.
So, like that, you always got to keep a line of communication open with your children, especially for men with their daughters, because after they get a certain age, they gonna stop talking to you, because they ain't finna come talking to you about boys, and that ain't happening. So you want to be able to make especially your daughter, to feel comfortable with being able to talk to you about anything, because once they get that certain age, they gonna shut you off, and they gonna they gonna get to that age where they know it all, and I'm not gonna tell him that, because they gonna think you're gonna be upset with him about it.
Right. Now that you went to mentioning the daughters, I'm affiliated, and I want to maybe introduce you into this movement. But I work with a group called Street Positive. My mentor Terry Boykins, and they have a campaign called Daughters Lives Matter, and the new launch that we're launching right now is a series called Pimp Proof. How do you pimp proof your daughter? So I'm going to ask you, being from the hub and knowing what it is as a father with girls, what would be your approach to pimp proof your daughter?
That's a good question. Especially being that my daughter's turning 15 this year. I just tried to, like Uno said, to keep that line of communication open and just explain to her that she's entering a different stage in her life, and boys are starting to look at you, and you being a young teenage girl, you're going to start to smell yourself, because you're going to be getting a lot of more attention. At first you thought boys, that's nasty, but it's you going into a different phase, so things are going to be changing. So I just try to instill core values that when your child goes out into the world, because she's going to be in high school this year, when the schools start back. So, and that's when it kicks in. I just try to instill core values into her, to when she goes out into the world, you just equipping her with tools, knowing that, okay, it just does. No, that don't seem right. My daddy done told me, no, I'm not finna do that. And you just gotta. It's tough, because kids gonna do what they want to do, but I think the major part is just instilling core values into your children while they're young, and I think it goes a long way with them into their teenage, into adult life.
Right. Okay. Let's keep it here. with the pimp proofing, and from our side of the campaign and the information that we look to push out is education.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to make sure, and not only your daughters, your sons too, but right now we're specifically dealing with daughters.
Okay.
Make sure that they're educated, encourage their continuing of education into college, and getting their game up on that level.
Mm-hmm.
Really want to look at poverty avoidance. How do we teach them to avoid poverty? Because when you got an uneducated woman who's facing and dealing with poverty, that pimp got to weigh in.
Yeah.
That, hey mama, come on, hop in the lap. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Kind of goes back into as far like you said, as far as pimp proofing, like taking your children, exposing your children to certain things while they're young, so when they get older, those things don't excite them as much. It's like like you talking about a car. My mother had, as far as I take you, let's go to Vegas. What? I done been out of the country. I've been to Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? Hawaii, like all these places as a kid. So what you talking about? That don't move me. I done been did that. What you talking about?
Right, and that's something I do. With my daughters, we do our daddy-daughter date. So it's like, they're used to going out to restaurants and and eating in nice places, and they're used to these things. So it can't be something that's waved in front of them as a, hey baby, I'm gonna take you to Red Lobster, and then we're gonna go. Like, nigga, Red Lobster, my daddy take me to eat. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Or but it's so much. It's hard. You got mamas who be mamas. I mean, sons who become mamas' boys, and then they always say, "Daddy," it's daddy's girl. And just me having two daughters, and raising them, on my own. Their mom passed. They were 6 and 8. They're 12 and 15 now, and that has been, the 6-year journey. It's a humbling thing. You know what I mean? Because you start. This one thing my mentor asked me, and this was years ago. He said, "Do you want your daughter coming to your door with a you?" You know what I mean? And I was like, not the old me.
Not the old me. Yeah, right.
Big ass. And she bring the old me around. Yeah. So that's something that we have to be accountable with. With our daughters, is we have to show them the vision of the man that we as fathers would want them to end up with. Yeah. Now, if you the dope dealer, do you want your daughter coming home with the dope dealer? If you the pimp, do you want your daughter coming home with a pimp?
Yeah, because you're exposing your daughter to this information, this lifestyle. So how could you expect them to want something else, or how could you fault them if this is what they seen and that's what they want to get involved with?
Yeah, and a girl that sees a father in a let's just say an abusive relationship where the father is abusive, there's a great chance that she'll accept that because this is what marriage was. This is what I thought relationships were made of because this is what I've seen. And now what you've seen becomes what you accept.
Yeah.
And we have to be very mindful of what we allow, our daughters to see.
Yeah.
And not daughters, but our sons as well. Because if they see us hanging with niggas banging, they gonna want to hang with niggas and bang.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because even my son now, he has this thing where every now and then, the way we walk, he like, "Dad, your pants are sagging. Pull your pants up." And because I always say, I'm like, "Damn, I'm putting like, why you sagging?" I'm like, I don't tend to. That it just happens like that. He's like,
just what I do.
Yeah, maybe you need to tighten your belt up a little bit. Because I'm like, all right, I'll tighten it up a little bit. But like even with me, like with my daughter, I had full legal custody of my daughter for 7 years. Like, she lived with me and my wife. So like it was like not your situation, yours horrific. But like that, it changed. I changed. Like I went from seeing my daughter 3 days out the week to now she's with me every day. Like this is it changed and it was nothing. It wasn't a hard transition because I was always there. I was always at doctor visits. I was always dentist. Like in my daughter, she has epilepsy, so she has seizures. So it wasn't a hard transition, but just from being able to do what you want to do to now you are playing the role of the mother and the father every day. Like it just changed my perspective on fatherhood. Like I said, because I didn't grow up with a mother and a father in the household.
Right.
And, my daughter, she was 5 years old when I got her. So to a certain point, me and her mother was separated. But then she moved with me and my wife, so she was able to see a man and woman in a household exactly. You know what I'm saying? And then my boys, once they were born, they've always, and like in marriage, it's not easy, bro. Like, but my biggest thing is like I would hate to have to tell my sons why me and your mother we're not living in the same house anymore. I just don't want to have that conversation with my children.
It's a hard one.
Yeah,
it's a hard one. I have my first son is 20. He'll be 21 this year, and he has Down syndrome, so he's not your average 21-year. He's still very childlike, and upon me separate, I was a dog. I cheated on his mama. I met my wife. You know what I'm saying? And the separation was my fault because of my immaturity and my selfishness. But because her and I split, it didn't change the way that I felt about my son. No. But my relationship with him was altered because of that. Mm-hmm. You don't want him around the woman that I left her for. She don't, and I thought she had the control, and she held over. When I was like, well, I'm gonna just go to court. Then she's like, and I'm gonna tell him you do this, and I'm gonna tell him about that, and then it's like you get scared. And my biggest regret, and I don't have many, but one of my biggest regrets was not fighting harder for him. Yeah. I did have faith, and I did trust that God would,
just make it work out. Yeah.
But and it happened. After my wife died, it was cool. Like now, she bring him around, and he's had every birthday party for the last 6 years at my house. So I got a second chance to be in his life. But in relation to what you were saying, I feared the reunion, not knowing how he felt about it, because could he understand?
Right, yeah.
But it's not that I didn't want to be in your life. Right. It's that you sent me through hell trying, and I just put my hands in the air. And, I prayed for you. I loved you, from a distance, having faith that one day but that was a fear of mine. And like I said, it kind of, I would say it made it a little easier due to his disability, to, you know what I mean? To where I didn't, you got a fool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That want to dunk him, you know what I'm saying? Or fuck you, nigga, you wasn't here.
Left my mom. Exactly. Yeah.
In my son's childlike state, he never skipped a beat. And I'm gonna keep it 100. I feel like he has some type of animosity more towards his mother than to me. That's just the way I feel. Because he's very respectful. Like he's 21, but like I said, he's still disabled. So she'll, and all throughout the years, she'll call and say, talk to little Scotty. He's acting up. He won't, I'm trying to get him in the car. He won't go. And I get on the phone. He like, yes, Daddy.
Right.
Like a whole
another person. Same thing with my daughter. Same thing.
Like, how is it that you can't, and I can't knock her because she did what she did for those 7 years that we were separated. But it's like, it made me wish and understand how important
it is. Exactly.
It wasn't about the money that she didn't order, because they was good. She bred it up. I don't fuck with broke bitches. Excuse my language. She was bred it up, and didn't need me nor harass me for financial help. But what he missed more than my money was my time.
Yeah, you can't get that back. Like that, time is more than anything, especially to a kid. Yeah, I mean they ask you weird shit, and my son, I think it was last year when the Super Bowl was in Miami. Like, we go to football games. So my son, he likes football. He want to play football. We go to football games. We go to Rams games. We go to Charger games. We go to the games. And he was like, we went to the last playoff game at the Rams house. And he was like, okay, so Super Bowl in Miami, we going? Like he's 6 years old. He's talking about, so we going? I'm like, I look at the tickets. Tickets is $3,500 per person. I'm like, Niall, my tickets is like, it's gonna cost a lot for all of us. Like, it's 5 of us. $3,500 a piece.
Right.
I'm like, man, that's gonna be a lot of money. He like, okay, is we going or not? Like, they don't get my.
What it takes to get it.
No, you don't. That's not the thing. It's the time.
You're supposed to get them.
They don't have a concept about the money. It's you being there. That's when a kid is growing up, that's what they're more. They need that time. You got to put in that time. That's so important. It's key because you can't get that back. Like their brains are growing, and that's when they're learning. And so if you're not there to instill those core values, they're going to pick up what they're going to pick. It's hard to undo shit. It's hard to undo it.
Right. Easy to get in, but hard as hell to get out.
Man.
You can't undo it. And, that's, time is everything. And like my mentor at Terry Boykins of Street Positive, he has a saying, if you don't spend time with your child, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And who that somebody else could be a good or a bad thing. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, it's a bad thing. It's the gang leader that wants to recruit them, that's going to spend time with your son because you not. It's that fast-ass, grown-ass boy that's going to spend time with your daughter because you not.
Right.
I think the time and conversation, that's one thing about, me and my girls, I started a campaign some years ago called Dinner with Dad, because when they was younger and I first started that journey, my pockets wasn't as blessed as they become over a course of time, and I used to take advantage of Thursday night family night at the hometown buffet.
Love
pizza 9 cents. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And me and my 2 girls and myself, we could go to hometown buffet and eat for under a dub. You know what I'm saying? Because mine was still 15.
Right.
But it was the conversation. It was the interaction at the dinner table.
Yeah.
That really, got my bond with my girls, because while their mother was living, I'm in the street. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
I'm a nice SDM, but most baby daddy ass niggas like myself, when you get home and you on the grind, you ready for the kids to go to bed so you can get you up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just keeping it 1,000. So I realized by having them 24/7 without their mother, it showed me how much I wasn't doing.
Yeah.
I was here, but I wasn't, I was daddy and I did what I was supposed to do, but I wasn't father.
Yeah, you was there in the morning and at night and on the weekend sometimes.
Right. So, I mean, I salute what you're doing with your child support movement, and you have a great wealth of information. Go ahead and give out the website again and the social media so that folks can follow you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the website is childsupportersfraud.com. Simple, childsupportersfraud.com. Same thing on IG and Facebook, Child Support is Fraud. The documentary, we are in production right now. We're still filming it. It's a counteractive educational documentary, and is the whole synopsis of it is to show people what people have this perception of what child support is, and our goal by the end of it is to show you that it's not what the majority thinks the perception is. So childsupportersfraud.com. You can hit us up on IG, Child Support is Fraud, or you can just hit me up on my personal, TJ with the Scar.
Cool. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention as the comments, but I've seen some cash apps throughout the conversation, and we want you guys to take this last few minutes to drop your cash apps in the comments, and myself and TJ will review and look through. And I want you to be able to, bless a few folks today, TJ, that because, as you know, you brought your influence to the table, so your people are following and they're watching right now. And I know you may be familiar with some of the people that are tapped in, so I want to allow you, to pick a few of them, to bless in the mess, and I'll get the cash app out, to them. So if y'all following TJ and y'all here, because TJ, is on here with Fathers in Hip Hop, drop your cash apps in the comments, and we'll go through, and at the end of the show, we'll be able to select a couple people to bless. What I'd have you do, TJ, is if you look back through it or you see them now, hit the screenshot. And I definitely shout out to Sacred Opulence. That's one of our sponsors. And my lady, she support the movement. She's down and she represents hard for the single mothers out there. So we like mindful, of the single mothers in the building as well. Like I said, Fathers Hip Hop is aimed and directed at men, but we don't have a problem, being a blessing to the women that are forced to hold it down. And what I've been asking lately is really big of the ladies that's tuning in is if you got a bomb-ass baby father that's doing what he's supposed to do, drop his cash app.
Yes, sir.
Drop his cash app so he can get blessed in the mess for doing the right thing. And so y'all go ahead and drop them cash apps. TJ, we got about, let me see. Checking my clock. Okay, we got 2 minutes because with Instagram, it'll just pop up and let me know I got 30 seconds. So I want you to just whatever's on your mind, whatever piece of advice from your own experiences as a father, just some closing words and to the fathers out there, what they're supposed to do. And the ones not.
As a father, man, I would just say, be patient with your children. Be patient with them. Be there. Be patient. Just try to instill core values in your children. I believe that it'll go a long way with them, even after you're gone, or once they grow up and do their own thing.
Real talk. And fathers, this is just a PSA. Get your credit right. Get you some insurance.
Right.
To yourself to be a better father.
OneCreditGuide.com. We also doing credit services as well. OneCreditGuide.com.
There it is. I'm going to have to talk to you about that too because, we did the child support talk today, but I might need to bring you back in to discuss credit and the importance of it to a father. Y'all go ahead and drop them cash apps. I got 22 seconds left and we're going to have to tap out. But I just want to thank you, TJ, for bringing your influence to Fathers in Hip Hop.